Rare historical images you have not seen before. Physicist Harold Agnew carries plutonium for the atomic bomb Fat Man to be dropped on Nagasaki, which would kill about 74,000 people. USA, 1945. Fidel Castro holding current Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, 1972. Letter carrier gets longest prison sentence in history, 384,912 years. The 22-year-old letter carrier Gabriel March Grandos ignored and failed to deliver about 43,000 letters during his career as a letter carrier. For this blatant negligence, the Palma de Mallorca court sentenced Grandos to a record sentence of nearly 400,000 years behind bars, 9 years for each of the 42,768 undelivered letters. The letter carrier had been behind bars since 1972 and was still there. A school bus, Alaska, USA, 1930. Professional mute mourners, an obligatory attribute of the funeral of any well-to-do deceased in Victorian England, 1896. The presence of a mourner lent solemnity to the funeral, although his duties were uncomplicated. To stand silently and mournfully at the entrance to the house, holding a staff with a bow in his hand. Looking at the mute mourner, passers-by were imbued with the sad atmosphere of the funeral. U.S. naval-based dormitory overcrowded because of a flu epidemic that subsequently killed about 100 million people, which is 6% of the world's population, San Francisco, 1918. A rope bed in a homeless shelter in London, Britain, 1932. Such a treat cost 2 pence and was known among the townspeople as the 2-pence hanger. The lucky man who had not 2 but 4 pence set aside for an overnight stay could afford to sleep in one of the rigid crates covered with a tarp. Boy Scouts collecting money for the survivors of the Titanic, England, 1912. Former slaves gather the bones of soldiers who died at the Battle of Cold Harbor, 1 year after the battle itself, USA, 1865. A portrait of the MAO is covered from students hurling eggs filled with paint. Tiananmen Square, Beijing, 1989. Collecting swordtails for fertilizer, Delaware, USA, 1928. For hundreds of years, swordtails have been caught to be processed into fertilizer. This treatment of the species has taken quite a toll on their population. Now this use of these animals is banned, but some negligent agrarians continue to destroy crabs for their own purposes. A squad of professional ratepayers during the bubonic plague, Sydney, 1900. A Singapore police detachment armed with batons and wicker shields during a riot, 1964. Seizure of U.S. Embassy staff by Iranian Revolutionary Guards, Tehran, 1979. On November 4, 1979, students calling themselves followers of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took dozens of American diplomats hostage. The attack resulted in a massive diplomatic crisis, the effects of which are still felt today.